Welcome back, everybody. Today's feature film review is the legendary film Summer of Fear, directed by Wes Craven, starring Linda Blair and Lee Purcell. This is a scorcher. Let's check out Summer of Fear. Summer of Fear, released in 1978 as a made-for-TV movie, was directed by the legendary Wes Craven. It is a horror thriller starring Linda Blair and Lee Purcell. After her parents die in an automobile accident, Julia Trent moves in with her cousins, the Bryan family in California. Rachel, who is a teenager, gladly gives Julia space in her bedroom. After that, Rachel develops an enigmatic case of hives overnight, which keeps her from going to the dance. Instead of going to the dance with Julia, she sends Julia's boyfriend, Mike Gallagher, who later dumps Rachel and starts seeing Julia. With the exception of Rachel's horse Sundance, who rears when she is near Julia, everyone in Rachel's immediate vicinity, including her parents, brother, and closest friend, seemed enamored or enchanted with Julia. Among Julia's belongings, Rachel discovers a wax figurine that has Sundance's hair on it. Shortly after, Sundance loses her mind and needs to be put down. Rachel then deduces that Julia is a witch who is enticing everyone in her vicinity with spells. When I first saw Summer of Fear, it was in 1978. It was a made-for-TV movie, and back then, I was a kid, teenager. It was scary. Wes Craven did a great movie, but Lee Purcell plays a scary evil witch. And Linda Blair, who doesn't love Linda Blair? Linda Blair was on top of the screen world. Remember, she did The Exorcist, then she did Roller Boogie, Summer of Fear, Sarah T, Portrait of a Teenage Alcoholic. Linda Blair, she was doing commercials. The Heretic. Linda Blair was everywhere. Linda Blair was like one of the top female actresses of the 70s. And she was a bombshell. I love Linda Blair, and she could act. But when this movie came out, it was scary because she plays a teenager. And here comes Lee Purcell. I love Lee Purcell. Her face, it's kind of like a stuck-up face. And she can play evil and innocent. And she's just all around good. Lee Purcell is a wonderful actress. She was also a slutty mother on Valley Girl. You want to see where she was? In the movie Valley Girl, one of the daughters introduces a boyfriend to the mother, and the mother basically steals the girl's boyfriend. So she was all slutty. That was Lee Purcell. So Lee Purcell can act, and that was Valley Girl in 1982, 83. But anyways, getting back to Lee Purcell, she's a beautiful woman who plays an evil witch. And so if you like great acting and great dialogue, you're going to love Summer of Fear. This was Wes Craven's third feature picture. The film was first produced as a television series called Stranger in the House, but it gained more notoriety when it was renamed Summer of Fear and shown in theaters throughout Europe and other regions. It's unclear why it was thought intriguing enough for a theatrical distribution. With just two previous features, The Last House on the Left, released in 1972, and The Hills Have Eyes, released in 1977. Wes Craven was hardly the cult figure he would become a few years later with A Nightmare on Elm Street, released in 1984. But it is unlikely that it was the Wes Craven name at that point. Summer of Fear is great. Now, the acting is not that spectacular. This is a made-for-TV movie, or at least it was released in the United States on television. But Linda Blair, the chemistry between Linda Blair and Lee Purcell, it was awesome. It's fun because you want to strangle Lee Purcell, but you also want to protect Lee Purcell, Julia. And you want to root for Linda Blair to expose the witch, because witches, as Linda Blair discovers later, cannot be photographed. There's no reflection like a vampire. You can't see them in the mirror, and if you take a picture of them, you can't see them on the developed film or through a camera lens. So that's what makes Lee Purcell even more enjoyable in this film. I love Summer of Fear, and you will too. If you haven't seen it already, you will be scared and thrilled with Summer of Fear. There is not a lot of plausibility in this movie. The scene is the same typical American nuclear family that we see in A Nightmare on Elm Street, with the added convenience that the neighbor next door happens to be a witchcraft-focused anthropologist. The very chubby-looking father and lover of Linda Blair are instantly drawn in by Lee Purcell's witch. One would think that witches would have better things to do with their time than engage in such pointless activities. Surprisingly, there are a lot of parallels to the sequel, The Kiss, in 1988, which shared a storyline about a young girl's concerns of an evil aunt who moves in and steals her family's affection. The entire movie, in a rather absurd way, seems to play out as a paranoid fantasy of a teenage girl's fears of the alienation of the familiar, in which the stranger in the house goes on to steal the affections of Linda Blair's father and brother, causes Linda to break out in hives the next day and stay home from a dance where Lee Purcell steals her boyfriend. Again, this is Lee Purcell's film. She steals the film, although Linda Blair holds her own. The fight sequence is awesome, but you'll love to hate and love to love Lee Purcell as the witch. I love Lee Purcell, and I love Linda Blair. Who doesn't love Linda Blair? This movie is fun. This movie is so good on so many levels. But Summer of Fear is a classic horror film. A lot of jump scares, great dialogue, great acting. You're going to love it. It's exquisite. Lee Purcell even manages to wear Linda Blair's homemade dress better than she does. Seduces Linda Blair's closest friend, a young and unknown Fran Drescher. Remember Fran Drescher? Away from her. It even makes Linda move out of her own bedroom. Following her success to The Exorcist of 1973, Linda Blair spent a few years playing adolescent parts. Although she is an underappreciated performer, she comes out as too innocent in this scene to truly mean it when she becomes angry. As a result, Summer of Fear, Stranger in My House, makes for a movie that is almost too lighthearted to be taken seriously, and even less so if you're watching it in a theater. If the midsection feels overly similar, the finale, in which Lee Purcell transforms into a demon and blasts doors open, is just ridiculous. In these sequences, Lee Purcell plays the prize absurdist, grinning maniacally, driving a car, and trying to run over people while wearing demonic contact lenses. I can't spoil it, but you're going to see already, as you'll see in these little clips. They give her fake contact lenses. They're white, but she looks evil. She looks good. And they make her make these wild faces, opening up her mouth, and then she does a 360 with a cape or a dress, and she just looks good. So Lee Purcell plays an awesome evil witch. They should have her reprise that role 45 years later as another witch, because she can pull it off. And Lee Purcell is a classic witch. Remember, Lee Purcell was also the evil bitch in the movie Almost Summer. Remember, we just did a review on Almost Summer? And she was played opposite of Bruno Kirby. And she was a bitch. And she was all about herself. So Lee Purcell was quite busy in the late 70s. But Lee Purcell, she was an awesome actress. I miss her. She was beautiful. She was evil. And she can play innocent, shy. But she's also a pretty woman. A great actress. But I always remember her fondly on Summer of Fear, especially at the end with the fake contact lenses. And she's a witch, right? So she has powers. She's blowing doors open. And apparently she can lock people in their cars, roll up their windows. She can disable their brakes, have car hoods pop open so you can't see where you're driving. But yet she's driving a car. So if she's a witch, shouldn't she be able to just snap her fingers and appear somewhere or fly on her broom or something? No, but she's actually in a car driving, chasing somebody. But through her powers, she can mess up their brakes, again, roll up their windows, make them swerve, not stop their cars. So she has these powers, but she becomes stronger and stronger as the movie comes along. So this movie is a total Lee Purcell movie, But Linda Blair was awesome, and she overacts, but it was brilliant acting. I felt sorry for her when that horse had to be put down. But the scenes with her boyfriend, the scenes with her brother, everyone's turning against her because they're all enchanted under the spell of the witch, played by Lee Purcell. All right, that is The Summer of Fear. Check it out. You have to see it. I think you'll love it. Again, this is 1978. It's cheesy. It's kind of corny. Not that great special effects. But this is mostly about dialogue and fear and suspense. And this is 1978. So just picture yourself in 1978. And it's an all-around fun, good movie. Is it great? Oscar worthy? Of course not. But it's a good horror movie of the time, 1978. Wes Craven directed it, so you know how good he is. He had a vision. And with Lee Purcell and Linda Blair, that vision was carried out masterfully. With Wes Craven at the helm, you will not be disappointed with Summer of Fear. And out of 5 stars, Summer of Fear easily is 5 stars out of 5 stars. It is top. Great acting, great directing, great cinematography. The scenes between the mother and Julia, the mother and Linda Blair, the father and Julia, the horse, the crying, the stable, everything. This movie is 5 out of 5. So if you want a 5 out of 5 movie, you have to watch Summer of Fear. You will not be disappointed. All right? I'm Tony. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.